I'd like to start off with just a hypothetical situation to get you to think about what it means for a business when they decide to invest or spend money on advertising. So let's just presume that you're the owner of a business, or that you have a client that is the owner of a business that has just decided to spend $2 million on advertising. Right, so that sounds like a big number, but really, for some multinationals, this is a minuscule amount of money. And for small to medium enterprises, that is a lot of money. But in either case, money is a finite resource for all businesses. And so anytime you get to spend any money on advertising, you really have to start to think, is it worth it or not? So let's say this company spends $2 million on advertising. Now, what's something else they could do with the money instead? So let's just take a conservative estimate of some interest rates. So just some basic low risk conservative investment terms. That might be 3.5% per annum. Okay, so that means if you did nothing except for take the $2 million that you had to allocate to advertising, and you decided to just put it in the bank and do nothing with it, then 3.5% per annum means that at the end of the year, that business, your client, gets back $70,000. Okay, so that's not doing anything. So when you are in the role of being an advertising executive, or perhaps you become the marketing manager of your business, and you want to convince your boss to allow you to spend $2 million, the first thing you have to be able to justify is that you can return more than $70,000 to that company, or to your client, to the business. If you don't give that amount of money back, plus the $2 million that you've spent, then you really have to question whether advertising is worth it or not, right? Because the thing about putting the $2 million into a conservative term deposit is that you keep that $2 million, plus you get the $70,000 back in interest, right? So at the end of the day, at the end of the year, you've got $2,070,000. If you were the advertising executive, then you'd have to convince the client or your boss somehow that by giving you $2 million, you're going to get the $2 million back, plus you're going to get more than what's currently available in a conservative investment fund. So when you try to think about justifying advertising, whether it's worth it or not, through that sort of lens, it really starts to get you to think about how accountable advertising needs to be.